how do you avoid losing focus throughout the day? What is it that you do to ensure that the day stays focused and that the things that need to get done?
We have different ways of running our days, dramatically different. And I think part of that is because of the nature of the work that we do is somewhat different. And so for me, I've probably only had two habits that I would ascribe the majority of my productivity to. The first one is that I wake up early and I begin work early. And for me, that has worked. I think it's more, but I also have multiple friends who are billionaires who they work really late at night. And so I don't think it's like mornings are important or evenings are important. I think what's more important is to have dedicated time to think without distraction. And so for me, it works better in the mornings. And so that's habit one. And habit one paired with habit two, which is that I don't take meetings before lunch. And so I will have between 5 a.m. until noon, roughly, to have 7 hours of more or less uninterrupted work to do whatever it is that I want to do, to move things forward, to work on projects, to create SOPs, presentations, whatever it is. And then after that, I can correspond with the team, respond to Slacks and emails and all the other things that kind of pull you in a million directions. And I've been more or less doing that for years, and that has worked for me. I don't have any other habit besides that.
Your job role has changed, right? You've done different things throughout that time, but you've found that same get up early and avoid interacting with other people until around about midday has served you well across all of the different domains that you've had to do.
Yes, and I would still even say, even though my role has changed, the nature of my work is not too dissimilar over that same time period. What I was working on might have changed, but the nature of the work has not.
And what's the difference for you, Leila? What do you do?
I think because of the nature of my role, I need to be a little more available to people and a little more...
Not in a cupboard.
Not in a cupboard, yeah. I try to also keep my mornings clear, at least like early mornings, because I know that I have my list that I always have a working list basically like backlog, what do I need to get done this week and then today. And so it's like I try to get my today tasks done before I start my meetings. But if I don't, because things pop up and I gotta hop on a meeting at 7 or at 6:30 or whatever it is, then I will, and I'll just be flexible in terms of like I have my things that need to get done, but I can be flexible when they get done. That makes sense. And then I would say that in terms of staying focused, if I'm looking at all the things that pop up during the day, if I'm feeling like I can't get done what I said I'm going to get done for that day, then I'm not thinking strategically enough. What I'm typically not doing is I'm not thinking who else can do this besides me. That's usually when I can absolutely get these things done if I focus on the most important ones that only I can do. And so what I'll do is I'll look at my list. If I have like 17 things, and I'll say, these are all the things I'm going to delegate, and here's who I'm going to delegate to. And then I just go do it immediately. And then I go back to focusing on my thing. And so
I was going to say, I've just observed Leila doing this. So just to give more context for the audience, like she has now tuned her like mental muscle to whenever she gets this like level of, I don't want to say overwhelm, but like backlog of stuff that needs to be done that, I would say earlier days having observed her, she would just like stress out, sleep less, try and get it all done. And now she uses that as a warning flag or a red flag where she's like, oh, I probably need to delegate this stuff. And so her like auto correction cycle has, sped up faster and faster since we've been together doing this.
There's just a threshold that you meet. And then at that point you start kicking some stuff out the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think honestly, it's usually a little bit reactive, unfortunately. Like I should have been delegating those things anyways because my team has capacity and it's an opportunity for them to learn and to take on more responsibility. And so I'm doing them a disservice when I forget to do those things. But it's, I'm probably in a season right now where for a good amount of time, it was like me doing everything. And then, because even though we have we have the resources to like, we could have built a team of, 50 from day one, it doesn't make sense for a business. And it's, in my opinion, it's not the right way to build the business if you want the outcome that we want. Like, I do not think that everything should happen at once. I don't think that hiring 10 or 15 people overnight is ideal. So we're trying to do things gradually. And I'm okay with being in some pain doing that. But I have to also then remind myself, like, oh, you've been in the habit of doing a lot. Now you've gotten to get in the habit of starting to delegate more. Because when I left Gym Launch, I was only delegating. There was barely any doing. And then I had to switch back to doing. And now it's kind of like a mix in the middle.